Cause and effect now. There are several here. We've got, you can put something down to something. Put X down to Y. For example, you could put global warming down to man's influence in the world. But I always use that example, but you can use it with anything. You can put the hot weather down to variations in the solar temperature. Yeah, something like that. You're saying that variations in solar temperature have caused the odd weather, the peculiar weather. So put something down to something means ascribe causes to something. Say what the causes are of something, what the reasons are. And this one is exactly the same, come down to, but it's intransitive. There's no object here. So with this one, we just say the peculiar weather comes down to the variations in solar temperature, something like that. Okay, you can also use this one, which is hinge on, which means ultimately depend on. It's the same as depend on, but ultimately depend on. And very similar to hang on, which you can, hang on can mean hold on, like wait. But if you say everything hangs on funding, it means everything depends on funding. Everything hinges on funding. It's the most important thing. Okay, so this one's also for ascribing causes. If you say something like, what will come of this kind of behaviour, you're asking what will result from this kind of behaviour. So this one's also dealing with effects. It's dealing with the results of something. Quite common, that one as well. What will come of this? What will come of it? It means what will result from this. And you've got lead to and result in, which are pretty clear and easy, I think. X leads to Y, yeah, the variation in solar temperature leads to peculiar weather, or it results in peculiar weather. Okay, resigning and redundancy next. If you step down or stand down, you resign from your position. Usually, well, it could be because of a scandal, but it doesn't have to be. And it just means resign from your position. If you pack a job in or jack a job in, this is very informal, but it's very common. And it means resign, quit, basically. Quit. It's when you decide that you have had enough with your job. Usually you say it when you really have had enough of it. You're annoyed about it and you say, right, I'm packing it in. I don't like doing it anymore. I'm jacking it in. So that means resign. Lay someone off is to let someone go. It means to, and I suppose that's another good one for let someone go. It's also like fire somebody, basically sack somebody. But when you lay someone off, it's normally you're making them redundant. They haven't done anything wrong, but you're laying them off because you've got to cut down on workers, something like that. You haven't got enough money to employ so many people, to take on so many different people, and so you lay a few off, you let them go. Okay, last one down here is getting sick. Now, if you come down with a sickness, it simply means you get sick. You can come down with flu. You can come down with any virus or bacteria. You wouldn't say that somebody came down with a heart attack or something really serious like that, or cancer. Certainly not. But you can come down with flu. You can come down with a nasty stomach infection, something like that. So it's not for really serious stuff, that one. Be aware of that. Don't say he came down with cancer. It sounds really odd. But you could certainly say he got diagnosed with cancer, something like that. If you pick something up, it's the same as come down with. You can pick up a nasty infection, you can pick up some flu, you can pick up a cough, pick up a sneeze. If you get over something, it means you recover. And another good expression for recover is bear up or hold up. Quite often you'll hear it in films, how are you bearing up? How are you holding up? And it means, how are you coping with this injury? Or how are you coping with this terrible disease? Are you feeling like you're getting better? Okay? If you break out in something, it means, it's very often used with a sweat, and it means you start sweating profusely. But you can also break out in a rash. Now, unfortunately, this happened to me recently. I broke out in a rash about a month ago. And I won't get too close to the camera because otherwise you'll be able to see that my skin's very, very sore all over my face. And so you can say I came out in a rash, or you can say that something brought me out in a rash. But if that's the case, I don't know what it is. I don't know what brought me out in a rash. But let's say I changed my washing powder and then suddenly I came out in a rash. I could say that the washing powder brought me out in a rash. And notice again that come phrasal verbs are very often intransitive and bring phrasal verbs are very often transitive. I mentioned that in the previous phrasal verb cluster class and it's come up again. Notice come up, it's cropped up, it's come up, it's appeared again. Okay, noise gets quieter. If you keep the noise down, you make it quieter. If you turn something down, like the volume, you make it quieter. If a teacher tells the class to pipe down or to quieten down, that's misspelt, quieten down. If a teacher tells the class to pipe down or to quieten down or calm down, they mean please be quiet. If the noise dies down, then it gets quieter. So you need to put the noise dies down, the party died down. And if somebody's voice trails off, it gets quieter and quieter and quieter. Okay, so trail off, a voice can trail off and it means get quieter and quieter and quieter. Okay, clandestine, which is really in, on, as you will see. If you let someone in on a secret, you tell them the secret, and you always let them in on something a little bit secret or clandestine. And that's why I call this clandestine. If you are in on something, you are part of the secret plan, the clandestine plan. So again, it's connected to being clandestine. You might, perhaps there's a conspiracy somewhere, yeah? There's a group of people doing something in secret in order to make a lot of money. And I'm sure that that kind of thing goes on all the time because that's crime. And if you are in on the conspiracy, you're part of it and you're making some money out of it. And, you know, you're a happy guy because nobody else knows about it, but you are in on it. You are part of the secret plan. So this one's really common. Keep an eye out for it or keep an ear out for it. If you listen out for these phrasal verbs, you will hear them. Now, if you listen in on someone, you are eavesdropping. You are trying to hear their conversation. So it's not a very good thing to do. I mean, it literally means like when you take a glass and put it to the wall in order to listen in on someone else's conversation in the next room. So listen in on is eavesdrop. If you walk in on someone or barge in on someone or burst in on someone, it means that you suddenly disturb someone who's in the middle of doing something clandestine. And so you can even say, I walked in on my boss kissing his secretary, something like that. And the idea is that it's clandestine. You weren't meant to see it. When you walk in on someone or barge in on someone or burst in on someone, you weren't really supposed to go in that room and see that clandestine activity. Last one is muscle in on. You'd use this for perhaps a mafia that have muscled in on a rival group's business. Yeah, they've muscled in on their drug dealing business or they've muscled in on their whatever it is, whatever business that they're trying to take some of. And of course, the idea with muscle is that they use force, violence in order to take over that business. Okay, lastly, a quick visit. If you call in on someone or drop in on someone, you visit them quickly. Get your questions ready, guys. If you want to ask questions, now's the time to start putting them up. If you pop or drop into a shop or a business or university or somewhere, you go and visit that place quickly. If you pop by or drop by, you visit quickly. And if you pop round or drop round, you visit quickly. So I'm going to ask you, if you have any questions, guys, please, now is the time to ask. I'm happy to do some interactive parts, but it's got to be at the end, really. If it's at the start, I can't do the lesson and do questions and answers. Perhaps we'll do that one time, but let's have a look. I have read on a website that most phrasal verbs are informal. Many of them are, definitely. Perhaps the vast majority are, but there are also some very formal phrasal verbs. So it would be incorrect of me to say that all phrasal verbs are informal. Some phrasal verbs are very formal. If you set out to do something, I don't see that as an informal phrasal verb. Or if you, there are lots, I think. If I think for long enough, you can definitely come up with some formal phrasal verbs. Difference between restrain and restrict. Well, restrict is about other things. Restrain somebody means stop them from moving. Restrict is law. I didn't see that last question. You might have to put it up again. It just comes on my screen and then fades away quite quickly. And so if you want to put it up again, but yeah, do check dictionaries for the difference between restrain and restrict, because I am sure that dictionaries will have hundreds of examples, and check more than one. Yeah, I think that's a difficult thing to see the difference between separable and non-separable phrasal verbs, but I'm doing my best by I'll put the something in or the someone if it goes inside. I will try and write that down. So put something down to someone, or put something down to something. I will try and put the something there if it is separable. If it's not separable, I'll just leave it out. Play on is not separable. Drag on is not separable. Carry on is not separable. And so I haven't written it down. Any other questions, guys? That's a dictionary question. What is the meaning of is a dictionary question. You can ask any dictionary. You can ask all the dictionaries and you will get a good answer, better than I can give. Pop in and pop out. Well, pop in is go in and pop out is go out. So it's a good question, but it's what you would expect. Abstain versus restrain. Yep, dictionary. That's another great question for a dictionary. Does anyone have a question that's not what does this word mean? Because really, the English dictionary is the best. It really is. There's Oxford, Cambridge. There are many dictionaries. Macmillan is my favourite dictionary. Okay, so thanks for all your questions. Try and keep the questions about grammar or about these phrasal verbs. That was good about someone or something. Neither. No, I'm afraid that sentence doesn't make sense. So thanks everybody for watching. If you have any more questions, to buy the books, guys, it's not going to be ready for another week. I mean, I will tell you, of course I will, when that book's ready, and I'll give you all links and I'll make it very easy to buy. Naturally, I want you all to buy it. Please, all go out there and buy many copies of it. But it'll be ready in about a week, hopefully. Fingers crossed. We'll see, basically. Okay, well, I'll see you all next time then. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you.